afternoon, Eagle Nation. I'm Katie Tolbert.
And I'm Shaquem Holloway.
And this is Sports Talk with the Georgian. Today we will be discussing how men's basketball went 1-1 this week, the Lady Eagles went 0-2 this week, and the runners for track had some great accomplishments, and swimming and diving excelled in both of their swim meets. So Shaquem, let's talk about how the guys struggled on Thursday against Furman University.
Furman University basically came out and they played well offensively. They shot 64% in the entire game, and they were an offensive juggernaut, and the Eagles couldn't handle them. And Coach Young basically said that it was their night.
This was not the only nail-biter for the Eagles, though. On Saturday, they played the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, and in the second half, they had a 21-point lead, but came down to the very last second and barely pulled out the win. How did this team let that lead get away from them?
The Eagles were up by 17 and a half, and they let Chattanooga come back. They got very complacent, and Coach Young said the Eagles did not play to win. They played not to lose. So if it wasn't for a three-pointer by Eric Ferguson, the Eagles might not have won that game.
Previous to the men's game, the women's also played Davidson College and struggled a lot. Let's talk about how the women had a very tough time this week.
They did. They're playing better, but they couldn't pull out that win. Coach Vozab said that despite shooting the same field goal percentage, they should have won that game because they had an unfortunate 13 turnovers, and they let the other team get 16 points off of those. So when you're playing a team as good as that, you cannot give the ball away.
Mm-hmm. And with that, we'll be right back with sports reporter Robert Hewitt to talk about track and field. And welcome back to Sports Talk with the Georgian. I'm Katie and this is Robert.
Thanks for having me, Katie.
It's great having you. Now, Robert, tell me, how did this Hilton Garden Invitational really impact these runners?
Well, this weekend there were 8 personal records set by 6 different athletes. Junior Dana Edwards finished 9th in the pentathlon with 3,043 points, which is 300 more than her previous record. Freshman Alyssa Felton finished 4th in the long jump with a final jump of 5.69 meters. And freshman Kiana Harris finished 12th in the high jump with a jump of 1.62 meters.
That is excellent. Now, with the performances that were set during this meet, how do you think that's going to lead to the future meets and for the rest of the season?
Well, of course, if you set a personal best, it's going to improve your confidence, and I think it's going to really help this team as the season progresses.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for being on here. In a few moments, we'll be back with Shaquem to talk about swimming. Welcome back, Shaquem. And now the last thing to talk about is how the swimming and diving team did excellent, not just one meet, but 2 meets this weekend.
The swimming and diving team had a very triumphant weekend. In the first meet on Friday, they defeated Garner-Webb 104-101 by winning their final event. And also on Saturday, they beat 4 out of the 5 teams.
Yes, and at this second meet, the only team that they lost to was Liberty University. But this team was last year's CCSA championship runner-up, so I would say this was a great weekend for this team.
Also, unfortunately, the women's tennis team, they lost two matches this previous week, one against Auburn and the other one against UAB. But also today, Jeff Monken will be announcing the upcoming signing day for Georgia Southern Eagles football team.
Well, that wraps up these past weeks, so now moving on to next week. Men's basketball will be playing on Thursday, February 7th versus Appalachian State University, and on Saturday, February 9th versus Western Carolina University. Women's basketball will be playing on Saturday, February 9th versus the College of Charleston. And softball will begin their season on Friday, February 8th versus St. John's University, Saturday, February 9th versus University of Akron and St. John's University, and on Sunday, February 10th versus Tennessee Technological University. Swimming and diving will swim on Saturday, February 9th versus Georgia State University, and on Sunday, February 10th versus Kennesaw State University. Golf will also play on Saturday, February 9th to Sunday, February 10th at the Gator Invitational. Men's tennis will play on Saturday, February 9th versus Georgia State University, and on Sunday, February 10th versus Kennesaw State University. Women's tennis will play on Saturday, February 9th versus Kennesaw State University, and on Sunday, February 10th versus Mercer University. Track and field will run on Friday, February 8th to Saturday, February 9th in the Samford Multi and Invitational at Samford University, and on Saturday, February 9th in the Tiger Paw Invitational at Clemson University. That's all the sports talk we have for you this week. Thanks for tuning in and see you next Wednesday.